I request all of you to pay attention. Let me explain you first of all. Calculation of minimum required exchange ratio by target company so that its EPS is not reduced post merger. Dear students, we understand like this: EPS attributable to T Ltd is EPS of the merged firm into exchange ratio. Whatever is the EPS of the merged firm into exchange ratio is EPS attributable to T Ltd. We understand that as far as the T Ltd is concerned, it requires the EPS of at least 7 rupees 50 paise after merger. What is EPS of the merged firm? We understand it is EAT of A plus EAT of T divided by NA plus NT into exchange ratio. This is the way we can make the computation of the EPS of the merged firm. Multiplying with exchange ratio once again. This is the EPS attributable to them. This is 7 rupee 50 paise. Earning after taxes of A is 5 lakhs. For T it is 3 lakhs. Divided by number of shares of the acquiring company are 25,000. For target company it is 40,000 into exchange ratio. The numerator is again multiplied with the exchange ratio. Now 25,000 plus 40,000 exchange ratio is transferred on the left hand side. Is equal to 8 lakhs into exchange ratio divided by 7.5. That is the way we are required to make the calculation of answer. I request all of you to take down answer, and with this process we'll get the exchange ratio answer. So now we understand that 8 lakhs divided by 7.5, that comes to 1,06,667. This 40,000 exchange ratio is transferred on the opposite side, so it is deducted, and exchange ratio is common, is equal to 25,000. So exchange ratio is equal to 25,000 divided by 66,667. That is the way the exchange ratio can be found. And the answer comes to 0.375. This is what we understand is the exchange ratio minimum required by the target company so that EPS attributable to it is not reduced post merger. Now friends, the same answer can be calculated by using a shortcut method. What is that shortcut method? The shortcut method is like this. Listen me carefully. It is earning per share of the target company divided by earning per share of the acquiring company. That is the way you can find it. Yes. So it is 7 rupees 50 paise divided by 20. And you can see that the answer is 0.375. Instead of going for this entire process, you can have this simple working to be done. This shortcut method can be applied subject to fulfillment of two conditions. The first condition is that say there should not be any increase in the earning due to merger, and the second is that say you are required to compute the break-even exchange ratio, such exchange ratio at which you have neither profit nor loss. In that case, say you can have application of this simple formula for the purpose of making calculation of answer. So just understanding the explanation of the small formula, at the same time we are writing answer. Write down or in the write down above answer can be calculated as under also. In that write down EPS of the target company divided by EPS of acquiring company. Please write down answer along with me. EPS of the target company is 7 rupees 50 paise upon EPS of the acquiring company is 20 rupees. The answer is 0.375. With paragraph write down above shortcut method can be applied only if A, there is no increase in earning, B, break-even exchange ratio is supposed to be calculated. Full stop. Now let us have understanding that say how this formula is say derived upon. It is, dear students, say nothing else but it is a kind of simplification of this formula itself. Let us have understanding that say how does it work. It works like this. EPS attributable to T Ltd in the merged firm is EPS of the merged firm into exchange ratio. So it is earning after taxes of A plus earning after taxes of T, that is earning after taxes of merged firm divided by number of shares of the merged firm, NA plus NT into ER. That is the way the number of shares of the merged firm is calculated into exchange ratio. Now NA and NT into ER is transferred on the left hand side. So we understand like this. It is NA into EPS of T plus NT into ER into earning per share of the target company is equal to, on the opposite side, the earning after taxes of A, I am rewriting it as earning per share of A into number of shares of A into exchange ratio. Okay, earning after taxes of A is EPS of A into NA into exchange ratio plus earning per share of T into NT into ER. That is the way we will have the equation. This earning after taxes of T is split as EPS of T into number of shares of T into exchange ratio, that is the common multiplier. Now friends, we can cancel this EPS of T into NT into ER on both the sides. EPS of T into NT into ER. So we will be having number of shares of A into EPS of T. On the other hand, EPS of A into NA into exchange ratio. Now again on both the sides, number of shares of A can be cancelled. So now you can compute the exchange ratio as balancing figure. It is EPS of T divided by EPS of A. And that is the way we can make the calculation of the exchange ratio. This is what we understand. So these are the two conditions which are required to be fulfilled for the purpose of doing answer. Just casually, I'm asking one more question to all of you. Suppose the question is that say calculate from target company point of view the minimum required exchange ratio so that say its earning per share is 9.375. In a way that the earning per share attributable to T is 9.375. Calculate minimum required exchange ratio from the target company point of view. What would be the answer in that case? Write answer in your chat box. Do not write anything. I just want to explain that to you. Now, dear students, over here, for the purpose of calculating answer of this question, I am going with the detailed method. The earning per share attributable to T Limited should be 9.375. It is earning after taxes of A plus earning after taxes of T divided by number of shares of the acquiring company 25,000, number of shares of the target company 40,000 into exchange ratio. This equation is EPS of the merged firm multiplying with the exchange ratio once again. So over here 25,000 plus 40,000 into exchange ratio is equal to 8 lakhs into exchange ratio divided by 9.3750. 8 lakhs divided by 9.375, that comes to 85,333. Minus 40,000. This exchange ratio is kept common. So the final answer of exchange ratio will be 25,000 divided by 45,333. That comes to 0.5515. This is the minimum required exchange ratio by the target company so that EPS attributable to it is not reduced. In this case, can you have the alternative method? The answer is no. You cannot have this alternative method over here. Why? Because one of the two conditions is not satisfied. You can see that say one condition is that say there is no increase in the earning. That condition is satisfied. However, this condition that say the break-even exchange ratio is supposed to be calculated, that condition is not satisfied. Why? Because over here the earning per share of the target company before merger was 7 rupees 50 paise and post merger it has been given that it should be 9.375. That is what we understand. So coming back to our basic discussion, we understand that say from acquiring company point of view, the exchange ratio is expense. Now you keep in your mind the acquiring company. If exchange ratio is comparatively lower, 175 is lower than 0.675, you make a profit. However, if at all the exchange ratio increases from 0.175 to 0.625, then in that case, we understand that say the profit is converted to loss. This is what we understand. So with the increase in the exchange ratio, there is a reduction in earning per share attributable to A Limited. Third part of the question speaks that calculate maximum affordable exchange ratio to acquiring company so that earning per share attributable to A Limited is not diluted after the merger. So we are required to compute that say what is the maximum affordable exchange ratio to A Limited so that EPS attributable to it is not reduced post merger. Let us answer for the fourth question. From acquiring company point of view, we can say that exchange ratio is expense. Full stop. With an increase in exchange ratio, comma, EPS attributable to A Limited reduces. Full stop. In this question, we have to find maximum affordable exchange ratio to A Limited so that EPS attributable to A does not fall down. Full stop. I request you to write answer in the chat box after making calculation of this answer. Dear students, the answer of the fourth question is again 0.375. It's very simple. Whatever the answer that we computed above, the same answer would be applicable over here. Why? Because there is no increase in the earning. So whatever is the break even for the target company itself is the break even for the acquiring company. Of course, we are going to calculate the answer. Let us answer along with me. Method number one, detailed method. EPS attributable to A Limited in merged form is EPS of the merged firm itself. A Limited wants that it should be at least 20 rupees. EPS of the merged firm is found as EAT of A plus EAT of T divided by number of shares of A plus number of shares of T into exchange ratio. This is the way it is calculated. So over here this is 20 once again. Earning after taxes of A is 5 lakhs. For T it is 3 lakhs. Number of shares of the acquiring company is 25,000. For the target company it is 40,000 into exchange ratio. Now 25,000 plus 40,000 exchange ratio will be transferred on the left hand side. Is equal to numerator is 8 lakhs divided by 20. Now 40,000 exchange ratio is equal to 40,000 minus 25,000. This 25,000 is transferred on the opposite side. So exchange ratio is 15,000 divided by 40,000. So answer would be, dear students, again 0.3750. This is a detailed and a very logical method which you must understand properly, because this is the proper method that we have. At the same time, the alternative number 2, that is method number 2, will remain same since both the conditions are satisfied. One, there is no increase in the earning of A 5, earning of T 3. The total of both of them is earning of the merged entity. And the second thing is that we do not have a situation wherein, say, the question says that, say, the acquiring company wants at least this amount of the earning. So method number 2 would be EPS of the target company divided by EPS of the acquiring company. The target company EPS is 7 rupees 50 paise. For acquiring company it is 20 rupees. So the answer would be 0.3750. This is the way we can have, so the method number 2 to be applied. Right answer. Fourth question. Calculate exchange ratio based on market price per share. That is a question. Let us have understanding that's how to make the calculation of the answer for the fourth part of the question. I request all of you to pay attention. I am giving you first of all a logical explanation. We already had a discussion that, say, there are a number of ways by which, say, both the companies will have a kind of discussion with one another. One of the method by which, say, there can be, say, negotiation is like this. Target company will have, say, a kind of argument that, that, say, the value of my company is an amount of rupees 30 lakhs. That is 40,000 equity shares and market price of the share is 75. So product of this two, it is an amount of rupees 30 lakhs. So you should pay a consideration to us, say, considering this value. Acquiring company says that yes, it's true, and you also know that, say, the price of my equity share is 400. It means that, say, if at all I issue one share to you, it is deemed that consideration of 400 rupees is discharged. Value of your company is 30 lakhs. So this is what the number of shares, say, that I will issue to you. So use your calculator. 30 lakhs into 1, that does not make a sense, divided by 400. So it comes to 7,500 shares. So these are the number of shares that we will issue to you for the purpose of acquisition. You have in total 40,000 shares. So 7,500 shares are issued against 40,000. So the exchange ratio based on market price per share is 0.1875 or 0.1875 is to 1. So answer for the fourth part of the question. Calculation of exchange ratio based on market price of the share. In that, write down method number 1. Share in amount. Issuing one share of A Limited has a value of rupees 400. So this is the number of shares to be issued to discharge a consideration of rupees 30 lakhs. So the final answer is 30 lakhs into 1 divided by 400. So 7,500 shares to be issued by A Limited to T Limited shareholders. With paragraph write down, exchange ratio is equal to shares issued divided by number of shares of the target company. Shares issued are 7,500 divided by 30,000. I'm sorry, divided by 40,000. That comes to 0.1875 or 0.1875 is to 1. This is the answer. Now friends, again this answer can be calculated by a shortcut method, that is MPS of the target company divided by MPS of the acquiring company. Use your calculator. 75 rupees divided by 400. So you get final answer as 0.1875. This is the way we can find the exchange ratio directly. So write down heading method number 2. It is MPS of T divided by MPS of A. What is MPS of T? 75. What is MPS of A? It is 400. So answer is 1875 or it is 0.1875 is to 1. Dear students, the examination point of view, there is absolutely clarity from the institute that say you can do answer by either of the method. There are no rules and regulations that say you have to show the detailed method only. If shortcut method is possible and you are applying it, then that presentation is also acceptable. Next question, question number 5. Calculate exchange ratio based on earning per share. Now friends, number of times this kind of general question is asked upon, that compute the exchange ratio based on EPS. Then in that case you don't have to do some special thing. Taking into account the earning per share of both the companies before merger, you are required to make the calculation of the exchange ratio. That is the way we are required to make the calculation of answer for the fifth part of the question. Write down answer for fifth part. Exchange ratio based on earning per share. It is earning per share of the target company divided by earning per share of acquiring company. So whenever this kind of general question is asked upon, you have to use the EPS of both the companies before merger for making calculation of this answer. 7 rupee 50 paise upon 20 rupees. So answer would be again 0.3750. And number of times it is presented by the institute as 0.3750 is to 1. It means that say for every 1 share of the target company, this is the number of shares of the acquiring company that will be issued. One more explanation that I want to give for the method number 2 that we have done. What happens that the market price of the A Limited before merger is 400 and for T Limited it is 75. So we understand logically like this, that 0.1875 of A is equal to 1 share of T. I repeat that. What happens that say the 400 rupees is the price of A and 75 rupees is the price of T. Then like we understand that say the 75 divided by 400 it means that say 0.1875 is equal to 1 share of the target company. This is what we understand. A summary of this entire important question. The first thing is that say regarding EPS calculation, no information is given. We assume that say the earning after taxes of both of them combined is earning after taxes of the merged firm. The second thing that say we understand that say we are required to compute the EPS attributable to A, EPS attributable to T. That is what say we already have done it. For acquiring company it is EPS of the merged firm, and for target company it is EPS of the merged firm into exchange ratio. 0.175, we can see that so the acquiring company is making a gain and target company is incurring a loss, and vice versa. And these values also you can cross verify. Next question is a kind of break-even exchange ratio from the target company point of view, so that EPS attributable to it is not reduced. And the last question is calculation of the earning per share attributable to A Limited. Maximum affordable exchange ratio to A Limited, so that say the EPS attributable to it is not reduced. You can apply the shortcut method subject to fulfillment of two conditions. The first condition is say there is no increase in the earning, and the second condition is that say there is a break-even exchange ratio. The next point is we understand that say calculation of the exchange ratio based on EPS and MPS. That is what's the general question that can be asked upon. For MPS, there is a kind of logic that we have that say both the companies are having negotiation based on say the market price per share. This is what say we have understood.